as they join.
Mm.
So we are about to start the Academic Technology and Library Committee Meeting, 27 January 2026. We're holding for a few more members. Um, we have 6 present. We need at least 6 voting members. We have 5 voting members present, so we need one other person to connect and join. And we'll start at 5 minutes. Does everybody agree we can begin at 5 after, come what
Not
may?
a problem once you get your full quorum, that's fine.
Yeah. If we don't get full quorum by uh let's say 10 after, I have a fallback option. We can still accomplish something positive, even if we don't have a quorum, but don't tell others
Sure.
that on the sideline because we need a quorum.
There we
Aha,
go.
there we go. We officially have a quorum.
Is not correct.
So, with that in mind, um, so well, wait a minute here. My screen is not cooperating. I'm going to
Okay, I'm coming right
capture,
back. I'm coming right back.
I will capture the participants list. Well, we just lost somebody. So
Uh,
now we don't have a quorum.
I think they said they'll be back.
I hope so. Now this is the one that we have to start with. Was that
Yeah,
oh
and
yeah,
that's
Bledsoe. Yeah. All right.
Sorry. Check
This
it out.
is being recorded. Are there any objections to commencing with we okay to call the meeting to order? Oh, there's
Yes,
something
let's
in chat here. Ah, Robert,
salutations.
salutations. Yes. Okay.
I'm having
So
difficulty.
I'd like to thank Mark Jeffrey Deans. He is assisting as a co-host, depending on what plays out. And so, Mark, if you could tag people in as they arrive, I'll go ahead and get started.
Certainly.
Welcome to the first session of our Academic Technology and Library Committee. It's a university committee. Today's the day and today's date is Tuesday, 27 January 2026. We call the meeting to order. And what I'd like to do is acknowledge that Mark Jeffrey Deems is serving as a co-host. We do have 6 voting members of the 11 who are appointed to the committee, faculty members, so we do have a quorum to proceed. So we call the meeting to order officially at 12:06 p.m. Uh, did you receive in an email or have you seen the agenda? And does anyone have any questions about the agenda? I guess the first order of business should have been review of the agenda and approval of the agenda. We did promise everyone that we'd have a very short agenda and there'd be 2 primary interests. So in keeping with that promise, I am serving only in an ex officio capacity to start the process, but our first order of business for the agenda is to elect committee officers, chair, vice chair, and secretary. We can choose to have a single election for chair, and the person with the second highest number of votes can be designated the vice chair if you prefer to go with that option. We did have a member of the committee, Bruce, who is technically present by proxy. Bruce provided a record of his proxy to me, and he volunteered, self-nominated for the position of vice chair. He said he was familiar with information technology and academic technology, but he was new to the campus and thought it best if someone who's been here longer would serve as chair. Those were his remarks. He's going to get a copy of the minutes, and so he can clarify at the next meeting. Our second order of business is once the officers are determined, our second order of business is to discuss, review approval options, resources, milestones for 3 IS and IA policies. The timeline is particularly short. That's why this session is essential. And then you see the third option. It's a placeholder, time permitting, other business. Do we have any questions, comments, or observations about the agenda, and or do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I vote to approve the agenda as written.
Okay, and that was
Susan.
Susan Letzo. Thank you, Professor Letzo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Clinton Valley seconds. All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. All opposed? All abstained? Okay, moving right along. I did prepare a ballot if it was necessary. What I'd like to do is take them in order, starting with, should I start with the secretary first and work up to the chair?
go in order.
Or start with the chair and work down? What is your preference?
Chair.
Say the chair.
Chair. Okay, are there any nominations, self-nominations for the position of chair for this committee? Mm, crickets.
And, and Tim, would you accept the nomination?
I would. I would be
I
willing to
nominate you.
I would be willing to serve in the capacity, but I held off because there were other faculty who were tenured track, and leadership in a university committee is a significant criteria for the RPT and UPT review.
Absolutely. But if there are no self-nominations, I nominate you if you accept the nomination.
I would be willing to accept, and unless there was anyone else that you would care to nominate.
Before we go any further, Tim, may I ask one question? This
Yes.
is my first time working on this committee. Could you tell me how many members of this current committee were on it before and how many are new like myself?
That's a great question. So traditionally, the charter, and by the way, charter documentation is elusive, to say the least. There are snippets of references about the Academic Technology and Library Committee in the faculty policy manual, in in other university legacy references. And in some cases, you have to go spelunking into the Internet Archive, better known as the Wayback Machine, because the website has been updated and some of the previous references were not included. Originally, the purpose of it's not an advising committee, it's part of university governance. There's supposed to be 2 delegates appointed through the Committee on Committees and in coordination with the Provost's office from each of the academic divisions proper. So there should be, originally there were 10, but then we added, I think, School of Agricultural 6 or 7. I think it's the 6th, right? So there should be 2 faculty members that are appointed to represent their academic division. And if you count the new School of Agriculture, their roster isn't as extensive as the others. So if you count the 5 divisions, the 3 schools, and the 2 colleges, and then the new School of Ag, if I'm really leaving anybody out? I don't think so. School of Education, School of Business, School of Agriculture, School of Nursing, that's 4, and then the 2 colleges. If you count 1 representative for School of Agriculture, that would be 11 proper. There is other membership that's appointed from staff, and traditionally each bookstore had a delegate, and each library had a delegate, and it was the role of the committee to deliberate and report back to the provost and the vice president for information services and institutional assessment. The CIO of the university. Did that answer your question?
Not really, but it was good information anyway, Tim. Thank you for giving it. So my question was, so I believe there are 12 of us, is that correct? I looked at the email.
There are 11 that were appointed that are faculty presently.
Okay, but the committee is composed of 12 people, is that correct?
Yes, because Mark Jeffrey Deans is fulfilling the role of delegation on behalf of the library. Am I speaking out of place, Mark?
No, not at all, not at all. Library and CETL, yes.
So
Excellent. And how many people out of the 12, Tim, were on the committee during the last academic year? Just approximately.
Clinton, were you on?
No, I wasn't. No.
No, I wasn't the last academic term, but I was for many years, just a semester or 2 before that. There were others that were on, and I had a different focus. I had a pretty high overload, like almost a 100% overload at one point. And so I needed time, and I wasn't participating in the last academic term, but I've been on the committee from 2017 through, oh gosh, 2024.
Yeah. So you seem the person with by far the most experience, and for me personally, seem the person who is best fit to serve in the position of chair then.
Well,
If
yeah, yes, but full disclosure, I did determine a retirement. It's the first time in my life, but I've actually established a retirement timeline. Whether that happens according to the plan or not is anybody's guess, but it all depends on the markets and how much yet I can squirrel away in retirement. So I'm looking at like 3 or 4 years. I'll be off on another adventure, which is another reason why passing the continuity, right? So this would be a good time for us to establish solid leads, and then to transition so that vice chair or secretary could step up the following season. But there are different assignments each year according to the Committee on Committees and the provost. I think one of the factors that if we had maintained the same provost and president, it's likely, in my opinion, that we would have had a lot of repeat names on the roster, but because of the changes in key leadership between the president and provost, I think that's one factor in why we're seeing so many new folks. Does that make sense?
absolutely.
Okay.
I still nominate you for the position of chair if you accept it.
I do accept it. Deanna McMillan is joining us now. And Professor McMillan, you did see that we're recording this session, yes?
Yes, I did. I'm in
Okay.
favor. Aye.
Aye.
Were you proposing to close the nominations? Is that what you were doing?
I was proposing that I was in favor of you being chair.
Oh, okay.
Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you. Is there anyone that would like to propose we close the nominations? And
I propose that the nominations for chair be closed.
okay, and
I
then
second that motion.
thank you. Did we get the names of that? That was who
Robert
proposed?
seconded the motion.
Okay, Robert seconded and
Suzette,
Suzette Letso proposed. Okay.
yes.
In keeping with Robert's rule, usually when they close nominations and there's only one candidate, we move on. So what I'd like to do is move on. Would anyone care to see the documentation that Bruce Genre provided that he would self-nominate for vice chair? I have it on hand if you would like to see that.
I don't need to see that.
Neither do I.
Okay.
Neither do I.
Neither
Okay.
do
I just want you to be aware that I do have a record of Bruce's proxy authorization and self-nomination. So I guess, are there any nominations or self-nominations for vice chair?
I move that the nominations for vice chair be closed.
I second. This is Deanna.
Okay, so that's Professor Letso and McMillan again, right? Okay. All in favor of closing nominations?
I.
Okay.
Aye.
Congratulations, Dr. Genre. We'll inform him. He does have a conflicting priority. Secretary. Now this is more of a service position than most would like. I will tell you that, and I just want to share this, I have figured out how to generate an accurate transcript and a summary of decisions and milestones with software. And we would record every session, so the secretary would not have to be a labor intensive, and so but primarily for disseminating the agenda, for scheduling purposes, coordinating, it would be helpful to have someone alongside to assist with that. Is there anyone that's interested in self-nominating or nominating for secretary of the committee?
I would nominate, I don't know if she has the time, but I would nominate Miss Kadir if she'd be interested in the position.
Thank you, Dr. Tarasi, but I am chair in another committee and serving in another committee, so I would wish to decline. I'm here to support the committee, though.
Thank you. Professor Kadir, are you aware this is a university level committee? So it's which is distinctly different from like academic division, like school or college level versus department level.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. As long as you're
Thank you.
aware, that's fine. I understand your caveat. I completely get that. Any others we may consider? Do I have a motion to leave the position unfilled at this time? And we'll proceed with the self-generated record and minutes until such time a member of the committee is willing to fulfill those duties and responsibilities.
Can
Yeah.
it be combined with vice chair and then in the interim?
That's not a bad suggestion, and I will, with your recommendation and everyone else's blessing, I'll approach our new vice chair and ask, I'll relate that the committee suggested that we fold the two together until we can identify a secretary.
That's my motion.
I think that's an excellent motion. I second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
I don't know how we can really vote on it if the vice chair doesn't agree. I don't know how that would work.
Well, actually, what we're doing is voting to recommend as a committee that the
Mhm.
vice chair assist with secretary duties and responsibilities until we can identify a secretary. We have
Mhm.
we have 5 voting members who were not present due to schedule conflicts and other commitments. So
My question to you, Dr. Kentuck, how often do you plan to meet?
that's a great question. In the immediate future, it could be a little busy. We likely have 1 or 2 sessions remaining into the early part of February. But we can keep that to a minimum if we adopt offline procedures to review. We usually meet as needed, and there are times where the UVI faculty will broach upon a topic, like AI is a great example, where they said at the next ATL committee, we want them to examine faculty interests for the course, the program of instruction. Is there anything that we need to address in the way of formalizing a policy or practices with regard to AI, right? And I'm just using that as a quick example. That was something that came up. Does anybody here recall? It was a few months ago. It came up, and somebody said, "Yeah, we should ask the ATL to look at that." And I said, "With our next meeting, sure." So that's been many months ago, right? I don't know if that's still an interest, and I don't think that the Faculty Executive Committee, the FEC, has refreshed the trail, and that's never come up again since then. But sometimes we are asked to convene based on a provost interest, CIO interest, library interest, or the UVI faculty as a whole. I've seen
Okay.
1 or 2 meetings in a season, and that's it.
All right,
I've also seen seasons where we didn't meet a single time, not once. There wasn't an occasion. So I know that doesn't help, but it's kind of all over the map. So did that answer your question? And are we finished with the discussion regarding a recommendation as a committee to the vice chair to assist with secretary duties and responsibilities until such time a suitable member of faculty can be identified?
No, actually, I'll self-nominate for secretary because I think it's a bit rough to nominate the vice chair to do that. So, barring this first meeting, can I be barred from this first meeting for secretarial duties? Yeah, because I'm a
Absolutely.
little disoriented right now.
No, so I can show and share at a later time where we're going to stage the repository for ATL records.
Okay.
You'll see on the screen here, whoops, not here, but there's a Teams site that I set up, and yes, I would cover the interests for the secretary role during this meeting, and you would start next meeting.
Sure. You did send something about Teams, but it didn't open to anything. It was just a picture of Microsoft Teams.
Oh, okay.
You added me to Microsoft Teams, but there was not a link or anything for me to click or open any document, anything like that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. So
we
if
can-
you'll resend that, then I'll be able to go in and be able to prepare. So I
Yes.
don't mind. I'll take up the duties for secretary at our next meeting. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for your willingness to serve. Are there any others who would be willing to nominate for
Thank you.
secretary or move to close nominations?
Move to close nominations.
I second the nomination, Robert.
Okay.
That was
Thanks.
Deanna.
Deanna and Robert, move and second to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
I,
Congratulations, Professor Letso. Thank you for your service to the committee
Okay, you're welcome, Dr. Kitten.
and to the university. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, this brings our determination of committee officers to a close. Thank you for your time and participation to accomplish that milestone.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I have a meeting in 3 minutes.
Okay, so here's the thing. We need to review and approve 3 different IS and IA policies. And what I'd like to do is briefly review some options for the review process, the resources that we use, and more importantly, the milestones. There are, and I think Deanna just excused herself so she can to take up the next class at 12:30. So we appreciate Deanna's participation. Let me show and share the 3 policies and some initial perspective for consideration. And Mark and Clinton, I'd love it if you would tag in and offer thoughts and comments as well. So you would notice that this first policy document actually is updating the, Mark, was there a previous version of the charter for ATL, or is this sort of the seminal document?
There was a previous version of this original document. It was updated in 2024. Is that on it? 24, I think, I believe. So what you're looking at is the latest version of that document.
I understand. And it's dated 8 October 2025.
Right.
And here is something that's that sort of sets the stage for process to follow. As a committee, we can return a recommendation to the VP of IS and IA stating that the ATL committee has reviewed and endorses the draft of this document as stated, right? So we can affirm the charter as stated. We could also respond with some edits, and they could be simple edits like readability edits, or I don't think there's any substance in there. But my the reason for me calling this out is that as I see it, the charter is really a document that has more to do with internal matters and operating the CETL in an efficient manner, an effective manner. And the impact in terms of the daily grind with faculty, I don't see this charter impacting work conditions for faculty or limiting faculty. And it's really more of a necessary document to validate the purpose and mission and so on. I know that it's that you want faculty input. The other option is that we form a final opinion after review, and this is a pretty short document. It's 6 pages. We could forward it on to the UVI faculty body and request that we report on our findings and leave it at that. Or we could forward it to the FEC and ask if the FEC wants to consider full review and endorsement by the faculty body as a whole. In my professional opinion and in my past experience with the committee, I think that would bog down the process unnecessarily. I think it would make more sense for us to render a finding as a committee and then report to the UVI faculty body that that we convened to review the charter, the updated charter of the CETL, just as a matter of reporting business and our activities.
Dr. Kentop, as I was skimming through the document, and I noticed the first thing there was on mentoring of faculty. And then I begin to wonder, is this taking the mentoring of new faculty within each school or college separately from an overall mentoring from the university? I wasn't quite clear what what was expected, or is this a different from the school and college mentoring is what I'm asking. I wasn't clear.
So if I understand your question, you're asking, is the mentoring role
Is it
generic
addition
to
in
all
addition?
faculty, or is it specific to the different academic divisions?
It said, let's see what page 4, 1 year mentorship program. Is this a formal program by the university, or is this in addition to the mentoring that occurs for new faculty which is within each school or college? I was not clear on which it is. Do you understand me?
That's a great question. And I think that kind of clarity is exactly why we're doing this. Now, I will say that this is a prime example of how we need to
I hear you.
Yeah, this is how if we set up teams properly, you've worked with teams where Dr. Deans has raised his hand. Go ahead, Dr. Deans.
Thank you, Mr. Deans. Thank you. Just in response to the question earlier, the charter itself really making suggestions as to how the CETL can better reach the faculty in terms of the items that are proposed here. And so it's general in its approach, so to speak. I don't think when this was being constructed that that consideration was given to the fact that there are individual schools with already existing mentorship programs. So the charter was being general because we do have a mentorship program for staff, but when this was included in this charter, I don't believe there were any consideration as to the fact that, and I'm learning now, that there are mentorship programs that are already in place for each school on an individual level.
Well, it's informal at the School of Nursing. So any new faculty, we tend to take time, whatever courses that new faculty is teaching. The persons who've taught the course become a mentor. The chair of the program meets with the new faculty, take them through certain things, invite that new faculty to her classroom so they are seeing or they visit other faculty. So it's informal, but it's there. And that's why I asked the question. And I'm understanding you, Director Deans, that I mean it was just supposed to be a general and without consideration if this was occurring within the school or colleges, because we wouldn't want to have to be redundant in what we're doing, you know?
Excellent point. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tazia here to support that statement. The same in the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. There is a mentoring program for new faculty that takes them through what the requirements are and the steps. And you can have it for a year or it can be ongoing. So, yeah.
I think that
No, sorry, and let me just add in. I have to step away momentarily, but my other thing would be where a mentorship would benefit. I could see me just coming in as a new faculty if I were to be a faculty, which this is actually true, if I was to be a faculty advising on one of our clubs or organizations, I would need some mentoring here. So if you pivot it in a way in which it would make sense for me, and I would also like some mentoring if I wanted to be the chair of one of the doctoral committees. I would want that in here, you see? But that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Good point.
I see Tim as s- rather than either or, both and. I think that there's informal mentoring that may or may not happen at the school or college level, but I think it could be appropriate that this committee has this 12-month, 1-year mentoring program for those who so desire, and I think it would be up to the dean deans to guide the new faculty into this program. It does not mean that they may not have some more specific mentoring at the school level or college level, but I think this is a good idea that is more structured, and we ensure that every new faculty at least has a mentoring program.
I like where that's going, just as a general comment, and I appreciate the contributions and perspectives that have been offered. I do want to, so I'm not trying to deflect, but I do. So we could conclude that this is an ideal case of how the review and deliberation of each policy needs to progress. And I am happy to stand corrected. My impression of the initial document, and I chose the charter. I thought largely that the charter was more about establishing the programs and operations and resources and so on, but that there would be components that may not impact, that there are some policies that are more internal to a department and have more to do with efficient operation and less to do with the faculty component and the impact that it may wield on our full-time and part-time faculty. And it's clear to me that that's not the case here, that there's more. I only had a chance to glance through this, and I'm very grateful for the membership to call out these items as an example that we need to be more intentional about our review. With that said, what I'd like to do is propose a simple set of measures where we proceed in the next few days electronically, offline, using Teams. And what I would like to do is record a set of short videos on the logistics and how it works. And then I'd like to make quick work with the policies, and I'd like to start with the charter because that's 6 pages. The library policy is 18 pages. And then the LMS policy, well, actually the LMS policy is only 3 pages. But the reason I want to put that at the end, if you look at the 3 pages for the LMS, every faculty interacts with some manner of LMS. And there's a link here that's a dead link. It says all users of the LMS must adhere to the acceptable use policy. But if you try to click this, there is no quick reference to acceptable use. But it's embedded in the top bullet of the student learner auditing a course. Oh, I'm sorry, LMS use and operation, which has an impact upon students and faculty alike, right? I would just like to have a proper link to the acceptable use policy so that as we review the 3-page, we can make quick work of it. So I'd like to give the ITS and ISNIA leads a bit of time to maybe update this draft so that there's an active link where there are links, right? I don't know if that kind of link exists in the other documents. I haven't had a chance to fully scour them, but I can set up, Teams is great for collaboration offline. So what I'd like to do is pose some starter questions, some just quick perspective and starter questions to get the ball rolling. And then I'd like to ask if that's an efficient way to operate over the next 5 to 7 days. Ideally, if we can get enough discussion and review and then a consensus where, oh, if we change this part of the draft, I would approve this, right? If we can, with the intent that each of us discover and share the things that would warrant amendment, right? Would warrant a change. And when we get to the point where each of us are satisfied with those interests, we can kind of poll the group and declare electronically, okay, we're ready to vote. And we could vote electronically. We could vote electronically at your leisure over a 3-day period, yay or nay, up or down vote. And then we can, the other thing to decide is whether each of these policies should go on to the faculty body. I'd like to ask the VP herself if the intent is to achieve review and approval by the entire UVI faculty body. It needs to be in place by the end of February. If we're reporting on our progress to the UVI faculty body, we could update them in the upcoming meeting ahead, right? And that's very soon.
I
But
think,
can everybody see my screen where I have the calendar here? But if we need to have the entire UVI faculty vote up or down on all 3 policy statements, the accreditation team, the last I heard, they were going to be here somewhere around spring break. And what we wanted to do was to begin the process of review to the extent that we can take it. And then we'll show and share our shared governance as they come in. Ideally, it would be nice if we could clear full approval either way. Mark, were you offering a comment about that matter?
just thank you, Chair. Just highlighting the fact that we have a deadline of the 9th of February, I think, for the documents to be approved.
Thank you for sharing that definitive milestone. So if the intent from your seat and if you're speaking on behalf of the VP, then we're going to do what we can to review and forward as soon as possible. And do you know if it was full UVI body or was it?
Well, as far as I know, it has to be sent to faculty first and then approved to go to ARSA on the 9th.
Okay. Oh, so it's going to ARSA on the 9th. That means we would have to have our versions of approved drafts to the faculty in time for faculty to consider the first week of February. Isn't the 5th our faculty meeting? I think is our next meeting the 5th? I think it is. Let's look at the calendar. I think I've got it here. Yeah. The UVI faculty meeting is the 5th. That means we need we need to get something to the FEC probably no later than Tuesday. In fairness to UVI faculty, if we don't give them at least 48 hours lead time to review things, it's not generally, it can misfire because faculty will say, hey, I haven't had time to review this. It's not. If on the other hand, by Tuesday of next week, a week from today, we could say, these are the recommendations of the ATL committee. we forward these policy drafts we approve as a committee, and here's the vote, and then this one draft with comments, we could forward that to the FEC, and the FEC could include that in the packet going out. Does that sound like something we could shoot for if we're doing it offline?
Works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, next week Tuesday will be fine.
I like that can-do attitude. Thank you. If we get updated links on this, we could start with the low-hanging fruit and clear the 3-page first, the 6-page next, and the longer one last. Does anybody have suggestions for another approach? Should we try to split the committee and divide and conquer, and one committee takes the 2 shorter proposals? I'm just offering this as a suggestion, right? So we could take the 2 shorter proposals, the drafts, have half of the committee work on that, and then come back to the whole committee with conclusions, and then the other half of the committee could take the longer policy because of the time crunch we're under. Does anyone have a preference in this matter, I guess, is my question.
I just thought, even though we're under crunch for time, I still think that the record needs to reflect that the entire committee reviewed the policies or the or charter. I think we need to show that.
I agree.
And so if you wanted to say, Dr. Kentop, the 2 shorter ones by Friday, get all of us to send in or by Friday. And then
Yeah.
the longer one we can do and have that in the couple days thereafter or something like that, because it shouldn't take us long with the shorter ones. So if we could knock that out by Friday, then we take the long one and have all comments for next week, Tuesday, and so we can move swifter.
I love the can-do attitude. I think that's a great idea. Any other thoughts on how to proceed?
Yeah, I support that idea.
And one other idea, Tim, is if we could get even 1 or 2 of the documents to Andrea before, when she sends out the agenda for the faculty meeting, that would probably be ideal for sending out any documents we want to share with the faculty. That's usually what she does. Any documents are going to be examined during the faculty meeting, she usually sends them out at the same time she sends out the agenda.
Yes, I'll reach out to her today. Thank you for that suggestion. That's very helpful. I'll reach out to her today to see if I can get a read on when she's sending that out, and we'll include that in our record and plan accordingly. Thank you. Any other thoughts? Any other business? I think as long as we have a starting premise. So as I understand it, just to summarize, we're beginning with the shorter documents. We plan to have something forward to the Faculty Executive Committee with a report on our findings for the shorter documents, and then the longer document as early as possible in the remaining days before the start of next week. The ultimate goal is to get a final read on all 3 as a stopgap measure, no less than 48 hours before the faculty, but ideally to Andrea when she sends the packet. It would be ideal to get it to Andrea. Am I stating that correctly? Ideal to get to Andrea before she sends out the packet, if possible.
Absolutely. That's what I think would be ideal. The
Okay.
best that we could do.
I will get started on the teams, and Professor Letzum, when I'm going to check the settings on the Teams site, and if you find after I've work that over a little more, that you're still having problems accessing things. In Teams, everybody can see this, yes?
Yes, we could see you.
So I added every member that was appointed to this team, and I established this team. And so if we look at the team members, everybody should be listed in the members column. So we have the 11 members and myself, and what I'll do is share ownership with the secretary. And then as you look at, I'm going to go back to this again. So if you open this up and you go to shared, can everybody see the IS and IA draft policies?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. I will send separate links, and I'll set up a separate folder for suggested changes. But the original drafts we were given, I'm going to make those read only, so we save as with any suggested changes when we reach consensus about changes, obviously, right? So we can kind of show and share.
But if you do it, sorry, Dr. Kentop, if we did that within SharePoint, it is updating as we do revise the document so that we are all seeing the most current version.
I'm
So
thinking the way the Teams was
I see.
formed, there should be
I
an
see.
equivalent SharePoint site.
Okay.
I will check to make sure there's an equivalent SharePoint site. It was my intention to form the team with the SharePoint backend, and thank you for reminding me about SharePoint. You're absolutely right. SharePoint is a better platform to work this process. But when it comes to the team itself and the chats,
Mm-hmm.
right, with the posts, this is where we can
Okay.
include links to the SharePoint, and we can deliberate, and there's a thread, and we can kind of we can separate the threads from each other, so there's a platform. The thing I like about Teams is that I have mine set to alert me, and I have my cell phone. It's really intrusive, but for short bursts. Anytime somebody posts a comment, I get a ping on my text messages on my phone. Oh, Professor McMillan posted a comment, right? And I get it right to my phone. And you may or may not want to turn up the dial on that as high as you do. But anyway, I'm glad to have a chance to show and share what we've got in place so far. I'll follow up with SharePoint and with Andrea, and I'll report back to you before the end of the day.
Okay. Have a
Does
good afternoon, everybody.
Sounds
yes,
good.
does anyone else have any matter that we should take up, or do we have a recommendation to adjourn?
I believe that we can absolutely adjourn, Tim.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay.
So when it comes to adjournment, as long as there's a second, we don't need a vote, but thank you all for your time, and I appreciate it greatly. I know our university leadership does as well. Have a great day, and to be continued.
Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.